It was Seth Rollins. The whole time. Every shadow, every silhouette, every carefully calculated strike that left superstars broken and bleeding across every major WWE platform throughout 2026. Every cold, surgical, methodically executed attack that had an entire roster paralyzed with fear and an entire WWE universe burning through theory after theory after theory trying to identify the ghost that nobody could catch and nobody could stop. Every single moment of this extraordinary, maddening, breathtaking mystery that consumed professional wrestling conversation for the better part of this entire year, it was Seth Rollins standing in those shadows. The visionary, the Monday Night Messiah, the man who has reinvented himself more times than anyone else on this roster and who has demonstrated across an entire career defined by extraordinary moments that when Seth Rollins decides to commit to something he commits with a totality and a completeness that burns everything around it to the ground. Seth Rollins built this mystery from the inside while simultaneously being presented to the WWE Universe as one of its primary victims, and the audacity of that construction, the breathtaking psychological complexity of a man who weaponized our sympathy for his own supposed victimhood while he was the one delivering the violence we were being asked to condemn. That audacity is so complete and so perfectly executed that I am sitting here equal parts furious and genuinely in awe of what just unfolded at Elimination Chamber. And then, because Seth Rollins apparently decided that unmasking himself in front of the entire WWE Universe was not sufficiently explosive on its own, he turned his full, focused, absolutely unleashed fury directly onto Logan Paul and destroyed him in a way that has completely redrawn the map of WWE's power landscape in a single Elimination Chamber night. If you are not losing your mind right now, then you have not fully processed what just happened, and Ring Rumble 1 is about to make sure you understand every single devastating layer of the most shocking reveal in WWE 2026. Buckle in. This is going to be a lot. Let us go all the way back to the beginning because the beginning looks completely and utterly different now, and every single person who watched this mystery unfold in real time deserves to have the entire experience recontextualized through the lens of what Seth Rollins revealed at Elimination Chamber tonight. The Royal Rumble attack on Braun Breaker. Seth Rollins was there at the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins had access to every backstage area, every production corridor, every restricted zone in that arena because Seth Rollins is a main roster superstar of the highest standing whose presence in any part of any WWE venue raises zero flags and generates zero suspicious attention from security or production staff. Nobody questioned Seth being where Seth was at the Royal Rumble because Seth Rollins being anywhere in a WWE arena is the most natural and unremarkable thing in the world. That access, that invisible, unquestioned, completely taken for granted access, was the foundational tool that made the entire mystery campaign possible from its very first moment. And then the Raw campaign against the Vision. Seth Rollins versus the Vision. Think about what it means that Seth Rollins was simultaneously presenting himself as a target, accepting the sympathy of the WWE Universe, cutting promos about the violation of being attacked by an unknown assailant, while being the person responsible for those attacks. The psychological complexity required to sustain that performance, to stand in front of cameras week after week appearing authentically victimized while holding the secret of your own authorship of the victimization you are describing, that is not just athletic achievement or even professional wrestling achievement. That is performance art of the highest and most disturbing order. Seth Rollins should frighten you. Not as a wrestling character. As a demonstration of what a truly committed and truly brilliant performer is capable of sustaining under the pressure of live weekly television with millions of people watching and analyzing every single thing you say and do. The Elimination Chamber itself, the structure, the environment, the specific conditions of that particular WWE Premium live event, was not accidentally chosen as the location for Seth Rollins' self-unmasking. Nothing Seth Rollins does is accidental, and nothing no. Not Heyman. Seth Rollins operating independently with his own strategic vision chose the Elimination Chamber for the same reason that truly great theatrical performers choose their venue with the same care they choose their material. Because the Elimination Chamber is about survival. It is about enduring punishment and chaos and the accumulated damage of a brutal environment while maintaining enough capacity and enough will to outlast every other force present and emerge as the last person standing. The Elimination Chamber is about who you truly are when everything comfortable and everything safe has been stripped away and all that remains is the rawest version of your competitive nature and your willingness to pay whatever price victory demands. Seth Rollins choosing the Elimination Chamber to reveal himself was Seth Rollins making a statement about exactly who he is at his most fundamental and most stripped-back level. He is the person who survives. He is the person who endures. He is the person who constructed a mystery so elaborate and so psychologically sophisticated that it survived months of scrutiny from the sharpest analytical minds in professional wrestling, and who chose to end that mystery not when he was forced to, not when someone else cracked the code and cornered him, but entirely on his own terms at the moment and in the environment of his own choosing. Seth Rollins was never caught. Seth Rollins revealed himself, and that distinction is everything. Now I need to address Logan Paul directly because the Logan Paul dimension of tonight's Elimination Chamber is not simply a postscript to the unmasking story. It is a critical and deeply meaningful component of Seth Rollins' overall message and Seth Rollins' overall strategic vision for what comes next. Because Seth Rollins destroying Logan Paul at Elimination Chamber was not random aggression unleashed opportunistically in the adrenaline of his own revelation. It was a deliberate and carefully chosen escalation that communicates something specific and important about Seth Rollins' assessment of the current WWE power landscape and his intended position within it going forward now that the mask is permanently off. Logan Paul and Paul Heyman had spent 2026 building a partnership that positioned itself as the dominant emerging power in WWE, dismantling Roman Reigns, unmasking what they believed to be the mystery attacker, accumulating victories and momentum and the particular organizational gravity that comes from being the team that everyone else is forced to respond to rather than the team responding to everyone else. Logan Paul and Paul Heyman believed they had solved the mystery. They believed the threat was neutralized. They believed the board had been cleared of its most dangerous and most unpredictable piece and that the path forward was now manageable and navigable in ways the mystery attacker's continued presence had been complicating. Seth Rollins at Elimination Chamber informed them, loudly, physically, comprehensively, and with the full dramatic weight of his self-revelation as the mystery attacker, that they were catastrophically wrong about all of it. The piece they thought was neutralized was never neutralized. The threat they believed they had managed was never managed. And the person standing across from Logan Paul at Elimination Chamber was not a mystery attacker operating with the specific tactical advantages that anonymity provides. It was Seth Rollins operating with everything Seth Rollins possesses, which is more than enough to make Logan Paul's night an experience he will remember for the rest of his career. The destruction of Logan Paul that Seth Rollins delivered at Elimination Chamber deserves to be analyzed not just for its physical comprehensiveness but for what it communicates about Seth Rollins' capabilities now that the constraints of maintaining a mystery identity have been completely removed. Because here is something that the mystery attacker framework, for all its strategic advantages in terms of access and surprise and the psychological power of anonymity, actually limited in one specific and significant way. Operating as a mystery attacker requires a certain discipline of restraint, a commitment to clean escapes, a constant calibration of the violence delivered against the risk of exposure that comes from staying in any single situation long enough to leave conclusive identifying evidence. The mystery attacker framework required Seth Rollins to consistently pull himself back from the full expression of what he is capable of because going to that place fully and completely might have shattered the anonymity before he was ready to end it on his own terms. At Elimination Chamber, Seth Rollins operated without any of those constraints for the first time in 2026. No mask, no anonymity to protect, no calculation about exposure risk moderating the expression of his capability. Just Seth Rollins, fully revealed, fully committed, bringing absolutely everything he has developed across a career of extraordinary achievement directly to bear on Logan Paul with zero restraint and zero reservation. And Logan Paul, as legitimately talented and as genuinely improved a professional wrestler as he has become, encountered a version of Seth Rollins that the WWE Universe has not seen in some time. The version that does not manage his intensity for the camera. The version that does not perform his danger but simply is dangerous in a way that needs no theatrical amplification because the reality of it is already more compelling than any performance could be. And where does this leave Paul Heyman? Because Paul Heyman's presence in this story, his intelligence gathering, his strategic positioning, his decision to align with Logan Paul based on a calculation that the mystery attacker had been identified and neutralized, has now been exposed as wrong. Catastrophically, embarrassingly, historically wrong. Paul Heyman, the man whose greatest professional asset is the accuracy of his read on situations and the reliability of his intelligence about the forces at play in whatever environment he is navigating, had Seth Rollins hiding in plain sight and did not see it. Did not identify it. Did not factor it into his calculations at any point during the months that Seth Rollins was simultaneously being presented as a victim and operating as the perpetrator. That failure of intelligence on Heyman's part is not just a plot development. It is a genuine crack in the foundational premise of the Logan Paul and Paul Heyman partnership, the premise that Heyman's strategic genius is comprehensive enough and accurate enough to navigate any situation and outmaneuver any threat. Seth Rollins just demonstrated that it is not. And Seth Rollins doing so at Elimination Chamber in the most public and most dramatic way possible means that every superstar, every faction, every power structure in WWE now knows that Paul Heyman can be wrong. That Paul Heyman can be deceived. That the aura of infallibility that makes the Heyman brand so intimidating is not actually as impenetrable as everyone assumed. Seth Rollins did not just unmask himself at Elimination Chamber. He unmasked Paul Heyman too. And that second unmasking may ultimately prove to be the more consequential of the two. The road from Elimination Chamber to Wrestlemania now runs directly through Seth Rollins, the fully revealed, completely unleashed, operating entirely on his own terms version of the most consistently brilliant performer this generation of professional wrestling has produced. Every championship picture, every major feud, every pay-per-view card between now and WrestleMania has to be rebuilt around the reality of Seth Rollins unmasked and what that means for every person in that locker room who has spent 2026 either as his victim or as someone who thought they had the mystery solved. Nobody had it solved. Seth Rollins had it solved. From the inside, from the beginning, all along. And now that the visionary has stepped fully into the light with the mask permanently removed and the mystery permanently ended, the only question that matters is what Seth Rollins wants. What is the endpoint of this extraordinary campaign? What does the man who constructed 2026's most compelling WWE narrative actually intend to build with the platform and the momentum and the revealed brilliance that Elimination Chamber has now given him in front of the entire world? Whatever the answer, it is going to be unmissable. Get in those comments immediately with your most complete and most passionate reaction to Seth Rollins being revealed as the mystery attacker at Elimination Chamber. Did any part of you suspect it was him, or did it genuinely blindside you completely? Does this revelation make Seth Rollins the most compelling character in WWE right now? And what happens when Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns eventually share the same ring with the full truth of 2026 sitting between them? Share this video everywhere right now because Elimination Chamber delivered one of the greatest reveals in WWE's recent history, and Ring Rumble 1 is giving you the only breakdown that covers every single layer of what it means with the depth and the passion this historic moment completely deserves. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, turn on every notification because WrestleMania season just became Seth Rollins season and we are going to be here for every single moment of it. Ring Rumble 1. When the visionary finally shows his face, we are always ready to show you exactly what it means. Always.